I need to tell you about the morning the world stopped making sense. Not the reasons, not the theories, just what it felt like, what it sounded like, what it smelled like. Because if you weren't there, you don't really understand how fast everything can fall apart. And if you were there, maybe you need to hear this too, to know you weren't the only one who felt it.
October 19th, 2027. I woke up at 6:47 a.m. I know the exact time because I looked at my watch, an old mechanical one my grandfather gave me. I'd worn it to bed by accident. The kind that ticks. The kind that doesn't need batteries. My phone was on the nightstand, dead, completely black. I figured the battery died overnight. I reached for the charger, plugged it in. Nothing. No little lightning bolt icon, no vibration, nothing.
The outlet was dead.
I tried the lamp. Click, nothing. That's when I noticed how quiet it was. You don't realize how much noise your house makes until it stops. The hum of the refrigerator, the whir of the heater, the little electronic buzz of chargers and routers and all the things plugged into walls, breathing electricity. All of it. Gone.
I stood there in my bedroom, in the half-dark, listening to nothing. And I thought, power outage. The storm must have knocked something out. Except I looked out the window. Clear sky, pale morning light, no wind, no rain, no reason for the power to be out.
I went downstairs, tried the kitchen lights. Nothing. Checked the breaker box in the garage. Everything looked fine. I flipped the main breaker off and on again. Nothing changed. My car was in the driveway. I got in, turned the key. Nothing. Not even a click. Not even the dashboard lights. That's when the fear started. Not panic yet. Just a cold little thread of fear pulling tight in my chest. I walked to my neighbor's house. Daniel. Good guy. Worked in IT. Always had answers. I knocked. He opened the door in his bathrobe, holding a flashlight. He looked at me. I looked at him. He said, "Your power out too?" I nodded. He said, "My car's dead, phone's dead, everything's dead." I said, "Mine too." We stood there for a second. Then he said, "This isn't just us, is it?" I didn't answer, because I didn't know. But I could feel it. That cold thread pulling tighter. We walked to the end of the street together. A few other neighbors were outside now, standing in driveways, looking at their phones, looking at each other. Someone tried to start their car. Nothing. Someone else said their landline was dead too. A woman, Mrs. Alvarez, lived 3 houses down. She had a battery-powered radio, old school, AM, FM. She turned it on. Static. She turned the dial. More static. All the way across the band. Nothing. No voices. No emergency broadcast. Just white noise. That's when people started talking faster, voices getting louder. Is it terrorism? Is it an attack? Did something happen downtown? No one had answers, and that was the worst part, not knowing. Just standing there in the morning sun, watching the world refuse to work. Daniel said, "I'm going to walk to the fire station, see if they know anything." I said I'd go with him. We walked. 6 blocks.
Normally a 10-minute walk. It felt longer. Everything felt longer. The streets were too quiet. No traffic, no hum of distant highways, no planes overhead, just footsteps and wind and the sound of our own breathing. We passed a gas station. The pumps were dead. A guy was standing there staring at the card reader like it owed him an explanation. We passed a corner store. The owner was outside, arms crossed, looking at the dark windows. No one was looting yet. Not yet. People were still confused, still waiting for someone to fix it.
We got to the fire station. The big bay doors were open. 2 firefighters were outside, trying to start one of the trucks. It wasn't starting. Daniel called out, "Hey, do you guys know what's going on?" One of them looked up, tired eyes, frustrated. He said, "No idea. Everything's down. Radios, trucks, generators, all of it. We've been trying for an hour." Daniel said, "Generators too?" The firefighter nodded. "Even the backup systems. It's like everything with a circuit board just stopped."
I felt that cold thread snap. Daniel asked, "What do we do?" The firefighter looked at him, and for the first time I saw it, that flicker of fear in someone who's supposed to have answers. He said, "Go home, stay with your family, don't go far, we'll figure it out." But his voice said, "I don't know if we will."
We walked back in silence. By the time we got to our street, more people were outside. Clusters forming, talking, arguing. Someone said the military would come. Someone said it was solar flares. Someone said it was the Chinese. Someone else said it was the Russians. Someone said it was hackers. Someone said it was God. Everyone had a theory. No one had proof. And underneath all the theories was the same question. How long? How long until the power comes back? How long until help arrives? How long can we last like this? I went home. My wife, Sarah, was in the kitchen, trying to keep the refrigerator closed, trying to keep the cold in. She looked at me. "Anything?" I shook my head. She said, "The kids are scared." I said, "I know." Our daughter, Emma, was 8. Our son, Jacob, was 5. They didn't understand. They just knew something was wrong. Emma kept asking when the TV would come back on. Jacob wanted to know why his tablet wouldn't work. I didn't have answers, so I lied. I said, "Soon. It'll be fixed soon." But I didn't believe it, and I think Sarah knew. We spent the rest of the morning taking inventory. Flashlights, candles, batteries, food. We had maybe a week's worth of canned goods, some pasta, rice, bottled water, 3 gallons. Not enough. Sarah said, "Should we go to the store?" I said, "Let's wait, see what happens." I didn't want to say what I was really thinking. If this doesn't get fixed soon, the stores are going to be a nightmare. By noon, it was warmer. No air conditioning, windows open. The house smelled like trapped heat and worry.
I went back outside. More neighbors were gathering. Someone had dragged a grill into the street, trying to cook the food from their freezer before it went bad. It almost felt normal, like a block party. People laughing nervously, sharing burgers, pretending everything was fine. But I could see it in their eyes. That edge, that fear. By mid-afternoon, someone decided to walk to the grocery store downtown. A group of 5 people. Daniel went with them. They came back an hour later, empty-handed. Daniel's face was pale. He pulled me aside. He said, "It's bad. The store's locked. Owners won't open it. People are shouting, pushing. Someone threw a rock through the window." I said, "Did they loot it?" He said, "Not yet, but they will. Tonight, maybe tomorrow. It's coming." I felt sick.
he said. You need to get what you can, now, before it gets worse.
I went back inside, told Sarah. She said, "Where do we go?" I said, "There's a small convenience store, 3 blocks west. Family run. Maybe they'll let us buy something. Cash." We grabbed what cash we had. Maybe $200. Not much, but it was something. We walked, just the 2 of us. Left the kids with Daniel's wife, Kelly. The streets felt different now. Less confused. More tense. People were moving faster, eyes darting, looking at each other differently. We got to the convenience store. The owner, Mr. Pham, was at the door, arms crossed. I said, "We'd like to buy some food. We have cash."
He looked at us, then at the street, then back at us. He said, "How much?" I showed him the cash. He thought for a moment, then he nodded. 5 minutes. Take what you can carry, then you go. We went inside. It was dim. No lights. He had the door cracked open for light. We moved fast. Canned soup, beans, rice, crackers, peanut butter, bottled water. We piled it on the counter. He didn't count it, didn't weigh it, just took the cash and waved us out. As we left, he said, "Don't come back. I can't help you again." I understood.
We walked home fast, heads down, bags heavy. When we got back, the street was quieter. People had gone inside, doors locked, curtains drawn. The block party feeling was gone. By evening, the sun was setting, and that's when the real fear started. Because with no streetlights, the darkness was total. I'd never seen our neighborhood that dark. You could see stars, so many stars. It was beautiful. And it was terrifying. We lit candles, rationed the flashlight batteries, sat together in the living room. Emma asked, "Why isn't it fixed yet?" I said, "I don't know, sweetheart." Jacob asked, "Is someone coming to help?" I said, "I hope so." Sarah looked at me. She didn't say anything, but I could see the question in her eyes. What if no one comes?
That night, we heard it, distant but clear. Breaking glass, shouting. A car alarm. Wait, no, not a car alarm. Someone screaming. I went to the window, peeked through the curtain. Down the street, shadows moving, flashlights, people running. Sarah whispered, "What's happening?" I said, "I don't know. Stay away from the windows."
We moved the kids upstairs, put them in our bedroom, locked the door. I sat at the top of the stairs with a baseball bat. Sarah sat next to me with a kitchen knife. We didn't talk. We just listened. Footsteps outside. Voices. Someone tried our front door. The handle rattled. I stopped breathing. Then the footsteps moved on to the next house. We sat there in the dark, hearts pounding, waiting. Eventually, the sounds faded. The street went quiet again, but the fear stayed.
We didn't sleep. Not really. We took turns, one of us watching, one of us resting. When the sun finally came up, I felt a strange relief. Daylight meant visibility. Visibility meant safety. Or so I thought. I went outside, careful, slow. 3 houses had broken windows. One front door was kicked in. Mr. Pham's store 3 blocks away, I could see smoke rising. Daniel came out, eyes red, exhausted. He said, "They hit us too. Tried to break in through the back. I fired a warning shot. They ran." I said, "You have a gun?" He nodded. "My dad's old shotgun. I'm glad I kept it." I didn't have a gun. I had a baseball bat. And I suddenly felt very, very vulnerable.
Daniel said, "We need to organize, set up watches, protect the block." I said, "You think it's gonna get worse?" He looked at me like I was naive. He said, "It's been less than 24 hours. People are already breaking into houses. What do you think happens in a week, in a month?" I didn't answer, because I didn't want to think about it, but I knew he was right.
We gathered the neighbors. 10 houses, maybe 20 adults, a few teenagers. We made a plan, shifts, 2 people awake at all times, walking the street, watching. Someone suggested barricades. Someone else said we should pool our food. That's when it got tense. Mrs. Alvarez said, "I'm not giving up my food. I have grandkids to feed." Another guy, Tim, I think his name was, said, "If we don't share, we'll turn on each other. That's how this works."
Mrs. Alvarez said, "I don't even know half of you. Why should I trust you?" And there it was, the thing no one wanted to say. We'd lived on the same street for years, waved at each other, borrowed lawnmowers, complained about traffic, but we didn't really know each other. And now, when it mattered, that distance felt enormous.
Daniel stepped in, calm, steady. He said, "We don't have to pool everything, but we should know what we have, in case someone gets sick, in case someone runs out. We help each other. That's how we survive." Slowly, people nodded, reluctant, but they nodded. We made a list. Who had what? Who needed what? It wasn't perfect, but it was something. That afternoon, a group of us walked to the edge of the neighborhood to see if we could learn anything. We found others doing the same. People from other blocks, other streets. Everyone had the same questions. No one had answers. Someone said they heard the military was setting up camps. Someone else said the government collapsed. Someone said the whole country was dark. Someone said it was the whole world. Rumors, theories, fear. We went back home. That night was quieter. Maybe because people were too tired to fight. Maybe because they'd already taken what they wanted. Or maybe they were just waiting. I sat on the porch, my shift, 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. The stars were still beautiful. I thought about Emma and Jacob, upstairs, sleeping. I thought about what kind of world they were going to wake up to. I thought about how fast everything had fallen apart. One day, one night. That's all it took. Not bombs, not soldiers. Just silence. Just machines stopping. And suddenly, we were strangers again. Scared animals, looking at each other across the dark. I heard footsteps. Slow, deliberate. I stood up, gripped the bat. A figure came into view. Hands up, non-threatening. It was a woman, maybe mid-30s. Dirty clothes, tired eyes. She said, "I'm not here to cause trouble. I just need water, please." I looked at her, really looked. She wasn't a threat. She was just desperate. I said, "Wait here." I went inside, grabbed a bottle of water, came back. I handed it to her. She took it, drank half in one go, then looked at me. She said, "Thank you." I said, "Where are you going?" She said, "I don't know. Somewhere safe, if that exists anymore." I said, "You have family?" She nodded. "A sister, 2 states away. I'm trying to get to her." I said, "On foot?" She said, "What choice do I have?" I didn't have an answer for that. She finished the water,
handed me the empty bottle. She said, "I hope you make it." I said, "You too." And then she walked away, into the dark, and I never saw her again. I stood there for a long time after she left, thinking about her, about all the people out there, walking, searching, hoping. How many would make it? How many wouldn't? The sun came up again. Day 2, and we were still here, still standing. But I knew, deep down, that day 0 wasn't just one day. It was the beginning, the first crack in the foundation, and the cracks were spreading.
In the days that followed, we learned to adapt. Slowly, painfully. We rationed food, collected rainwater, boiled it over fires. We set up watches, built trust, or tried to. Some neighbors left, packed what they could carry, and walked away, toward family, toward rumors of safety. Some stayed, dug in, fortified.
We never found out what caused it. Not really. Theories kept coming. Solar storm, EMP, cyber attack, infrastructure collapse, cascading failures. Maybe it was all of them. Maybe it was none. In the end, it didn't matter. What mattered was what we did next, how we treated each other when the lights went out, whether we stayed human.
I think about that woman sometimes, the one I gave water to. I wonder if she made it, if she found her sister, if they're still alive. I hope so, because hope is the only thing we have left. Hope and each other.
If you're listening to this, I want you to know something. Day 0 taught me that the world doesn't end all at once. It ends in small moments, in choices, in the space between reaching out and pulling away. It ends when we stop believing in each other.
So if it happens again, and maybe it will, remember this: the machines will fail, the systems will break, the lights will go out, but we don't have to. We can choose to be more than scared animals in the dark. We can choose to stay human. That's the only thing that matters. That's the only thing we can control.
I was there, on day 0. I saw how fast we fell. But I also saw the people who helped, who shared, who stayed kind when it would have been easier to be cruel. And that gives me hope. Not for the machines, not for the systems, but for us. If you want another transmission, stay close. I'll be here.
For more stories like this, subscribe. Stay alive out there.